Have you ever sat at your desk, staring at a dashboard full of data, and felt that slight tug of unease? Maybe your system is recommending a specific hire or flagging a customer for a credit risk or even suggesting which project to cut. On the surface, it feels like a relief, right? I mean, the machine has done the heavy lifting. It has processed millions of data points that would take you a lifetime to read. But then there is that quiet voice in the back of your head asking, what if it's wrong? And if it is wrong, is it the software's fault or is it mine? Honestly, if you have felt that, you are not alone. It is one of the most common struggles I hear from leaders today. We are living in this strange middle ground where we have all this power at our fingertips, but the weight of it feels heavier than ever. Welcome to the Art of Positioning. I am Ayşe Müge, and today we are going to talk about leadership, decision quality, and that tricky thing called responsibility in the age of artificial intelligence. I want to start with a question that I think defines modern leadership. If an algorithm can recommend a decision, predict an outcome, or evaluate a human being, who is ultimately responsible for what happens next? Now, the easy answer, the one we all put in our corporate handbooks, is that a human remains responsible. But let's be real for a second. In practice, that responsibility is becoming incredibly difficult to locate. It's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. As AI becomes embedded in everything we do, decisions are happening faster and across more data than we can personally verify. This creates extraordinary value, sure. AI can spot patterns we would miss and detect inconsistencies in a heartbeat. But here is the thing I want you to remember today. Speed is not the same as wisdom. And intelligence? Well, intelligence is definitely not the same as responsibility. Think about it this way. Artificial intelligence is brilliant at calculating probability. It can tell you there is an 87% chance of a certain outcome. But it cannot and will never accept accountability. It can recommend an action, but it cannot stand before an employee, a customer, or a regulator and explain why that action was morally justified. It can't look someone in the eye and say, I understand how this affects your life. This is why I truly believe that AI is not reducing the importance of leadership. In fact, it is doing the exact opposite. It is raising the bar. It's raising the standard of what it means to be a leader. For a long time, we thought leadership was just about setting direction and delivering results. But now you have to be the architect of the relationship between human judgment and machine intelligence. You might be thinking, Ayşe Müge, that sounds great in theory, but how do I actually do that when the tech is moving so fast? Well, it starts by changing the questions we ask. The old question was, can we automate this? The new, much better question is, should this decision be automated? And if so, under what conditions? And most importantly, who has the authority to challenge it? You see, automated systems don't just float in a vacuum. They live inside your organizational culture. They reflect your priorities, your biases, and your incentives. If your organization values speed above everything else, you'll likely use AI to move faster without checking the brakes. If you reward certainty, your team will become afraid to question what the machine says. AI doesn't remove your organizational weaknesses, it scales them. It's like a megaphone for your existing culture. Let's look at that more closely. Imagine a poor decision made by one person. It's bad, but the impact is usually limited. Now imagine that same poor logic embedded into an automated system. It can be repeated thousands of times in a single afternoon before anyone even notices. This is why I always say that controls alone are not enough. Controls are downstream. They catch the water after it's already polluted. Culture is upstream. Culture determines which questions are allowed to be asked before the decision is even made. It determines whether your team feels safe enough to say, hey, Ayşe Müge, I think the algorithm is missing something here. Is disagreement treated as valuable evidence in your office, or is it seen as resistance to progress? That distinction is everything. I've seen this happen so many times. When people feel that questioning the system will hurt their reputation or slow down a project, they choose silence. It's a rational choice for them, but it's a dangerous one for the company. The leadership then looks at that silence and thinks, oh look, everyone agrees. The system must be working perfectly. But silence is not the same as trust. And consensus? Consensus isn't always proof of good judgment. Sometimes it's just proof that doubt has become too expensive for people to express. I want you to pause and think about your own team for a second. Is it expensive for them to doubt the tech you use? If it is, you might be flying blind without even knowing it. So, how do we fix this? I want to give you a principle that I believe should be non-negotiable in every organization. No consequential automated decision should ever become final without a named human owner, and I mean a person, not a department, not a committee, and definitely not a generic label like the system. A person with a name, someone who has the authority to examine the evidence, explain the logic, and this is the crucial part, reverse the outcome if necessary. Human oversight is completely meaningless if the person reviewing the decision doesn't actually have the power to change it. If your review process is just a rubber stamp, you don't have oversight. You have an expensive illusion of safety. Accountability requires authority, but it also requires visibility. If someone is affected by a decision, they should be able to understand how it was reached. Now, I'm not saying you need to explain the complex neural network or the Python code, but you should be able to provide a meaningful explanation. What information influenced this? What assumptions did we make? What were the criteria? And if this is wrong, who can I talk to fix it? These questions aren't barriers to innovation, I promise you. They are the absolute foundation of trustworthy innovation. The strongest organizations in the next decade won't be the ones that deploy AI the fastest. They will be the ones that make the best decisions around AI. Think of governance not as a set of boring rules or a compliance checklist you finish at the end of a project. Think of governance as the architecture of responsibility. It's the blueprint that decides who can decide, who can question, and who has the power to repair things when they go wrong. This requires a lot of intellectual humility from us as leaders. We have to be willing to stand up and say the system might be wrong, the data might be incomplete, the model might be accurate in general, but it might be totally unjust in this specific case. True leadership isn't about defending every tool your company buys. It's about knowing when to stop the machine and choose human judgment over automated certainty. I want to share a little try this moment with you. Next time you are looking at an automated report or a recommendation from a system, I want you to perform a decision audit. Ask yourself, if I followed this recommendation and it turned out to be a disaster, what would be my justification? If your only answer is because the computer said so, then you haven't made a leadership decision yet. You've just delegated your responsibility to a piece of software. Try to find the human why behind the digital what. It sounds simple, but in the heat of a busy workday, it's one of the hardest things to do. It takes courage to slow down when the technology is telling you to speed up. Every model reflects a position. Every metric privileges one thing over another. If you measure success only by efficiency, your AI will find the most efficient path, even if it's the least ethical one. Every automated process makes certain values more visible while making others easier to ignore. Our job as leaders is to recognize those choices before they become part of the invisible infrastructure of the company. We have to be the ones who say, this decision may have been automated, but it is not beyond human judgment. That is where trust is built. Trust isn't created by algorithms, it's created when people are willing to stand behind the decisions made in their name. As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this thought. The future isn't just going to be shaped by the amazing technologies we build. It's going to be shaped by the position we choose to take in relation to them. The defining question for you as a leader isn't how much you can delegate to a machine. It's how much human responsibility you are determined to preserve. It's about being the person who ensures that even in a world of high-speed data, wisdom still has a seat at the table. It's not always easy. Honestly, some days it's going to feel like you're swimming against the current, but it is the most important work you can do. So, here is your challenge for today. Pick one automated process in your department. Just one. Find out who the named human owner is. If you can't find a name, or if that person doesn't feel they have the power to challenge the system, then you've found your starting point. Start the conversation. Ask the uncomfortable questions. Because at the end of the day, leadership is a human craft, and no amount of code can replace the weight of a person standing by their word. Thank you for joining me on The Art of Positioning. I'm Ayşe Müge, and I'm so glad we could have this talk. Remember, you have the authority to lead, even when the machines are making the recommendations. I'll talk to you next time. Actually, before I go, let me just add one more thing. I know this can feel overwhelming. You might feel like you need to be a data scientist to lead today. You don't. You just need to be a human who cares about the why. Don't let the technical jargon intimidate you into silence. Your gut feeling, your ethical compass, and your experience, those are your most valuable assets in an AI-driven world. Lean into them. You've got this. We are all learning this together, one decision at a time. Take that first step today, and I promise the path will get clearer. See you in the next episode.